Alrighty, we're back with Two Gamers and a Podcast. I'm Stir Fry,
I'm Tank.
and we're here with Tanked Entree's brother as a special guest. He's going to introduce himself, talk about his gaming history a little bit. And we don't really have a structure for the rest of our podcast today. We just kind of want to talk about what we've been playing, maybe some things we're looking forward to, and I don't know, maybe we'll talk about some gaming news today with all the stuff that's been going on. Specifically, what I'm thinking about is Red Dead Redemption 2 being released and all the controversy around the forced overtime and crunch time that they've had to deal with.
Yeah.
So,
All right. So, PT, you could go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your gaming history and what you're playing.
All right. I'm Pat, and so gaming history. Stems from all the way back to cabinet days where video games were in a big box. I went to roller skating rinks and we would play games there. Centipede, Space Invaders, Frogger, those types of games. And then I got my first console at home was an Atari 2600. So Pitfall, Mission Control, Frogger there. And then really where it starts building onto is where we got the original Nintendo. Tecmo Bowl and Mario, things along those lines, Duck Hunt.
Oh, yeah, I remember Tecmo Bowl.
Oh, yeah, we used to have all-nighters with that one with your dad.
Yeah.
And then from there, we got the Sega and then the PlayStation, all the way up to now. Like I was just playing tonight, Assassin's Creed Odyssey on the PS4. So.
Okay. Yeah, and you've always been a PlayStation fan, right?
Oh, huge, yeah. I've never really gotten into Xbox ever.
Yeah, I know you've never really gotten into Xbox. Nintendo, I remember when I come down to visit, we play the Wii and stuff.
Of course, yeah, I still have my Wii.
Yeah, more so for the kids, but.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, Pat. What's your most current console that you have right now?
I have a PS4, a PS3, and a Wii.
Okay.
Nice. Okay, so you've been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey on the PS4, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Nice.
And then my nephew is a big gamer too, who's also gonna start being a part of this podcast with us, and probably handling a lot of the more technical stuff since I suck at editing podcasts and already deleted this podcast once on accident.
Yeah.
So let's just take two for all you listeners. But what is he playing now? I talked to him a little bit, and he said he's waiting for some games coming out, and he's primarily been playing Geometry Dash.
Yeah, that's his big thing. He plays it, but what he does with Geometry Dash, it's on his computer, so he creates his own levels for people to play and everything like that.
Okay. He's does he have an Xbox too, or is he has a 360, right?
He has a 360, but there is a one in the house. I know that, and then he also has the PS4 too.
Yeah, I knew he had the PS4. He's a big Halo fan. And that's what he has his YouTube page, and a lot of his videos are
his YouTube channel, man.
Whatever. His YouTube channel, man. Why you gotta do that? Why you gotta do that live on our podcast?
We gotta get it right.
There's a lot of Halo clips on there.
Oh yeah, those are all he does is he records video clips of him playing Halo and Call of Duty, I guess it is, or something along those lines.
Oh yeah, I didn't know he's into Call of Duty, but I could see him being into that.
Yeah, he seems like he's pretty good at the games he plays. Has he picked up Black Ops 4 yet?
Not to my knowledge, he hasn't. He already told me he doesn't like the way it looked, from what I heard.
Okay. Yeah.
That's fair.
So, once we get Tristan back on this podcast, he'll be able to tell us more about what he's playing and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, earlier on our podcast when we first started, when we were giving our background gaming, I talked a lot about the arcades we visit, specifically the Kmart one that we used to love going to.
Oh,
yeah. The one in the mall that had
a
lot of good arcade games. And then I talked about how we used to swap consoles with our cousin, Rob. We give him the Sega, and he give us the Super Nintendo. And so we had a lot of different gaming consoles in the house.
Oh yeah, constantly had at least one of the newer ones in the house, and if not, we would be trading off.
Oh
Definitely.
yeah, I even we talked about the Sega CD that we had.
Oh, wow.
So I kind of remember, but how did we acquire that? Because I just remember coming home one day and there it was, the Sega CD.
Honestly, I can't remember. I believe maybe it was from the Dixons, possibly even.
Okay. Yeah. So that's something I think Stir Fry had never even known about.
I was gonna say I didn't have a Sega CD. I was aware of the console, but I had a Genesis, and then I jumped straight from that to a PlayStation, and Nintendo 64. So I kind of missed that console.
Okay.
Yeah, the Sega CD was it's like pre-PlayStation, so it was your first disc type game.
Right. Yeah, and that there's some decent games on there. I mean, I had Sonic CD, which was sweet. Do you remember that Western shooting game?
I know of it. I just don't know the name of it.
Yeah, I can't remember the name either. It's driving me crazy. But that is one other game we used to love on there, and I think we had Mortal Kombat for it. If I remember right. And I just remember you could be chameleon, right?
Reptile.
Reptile. Yep. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Reptile.
And he'd piss the green stuff on you.
The green acid.
Yeah, green acid. So you mentioned you're playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you give it?
I give it an 8, and an 8 is, I mean, it's a great game. I'd give it higher, but loading times are horrible. You got anywhere between 20 and 30 seconds in cutscenes, between sync points, fast travels, things like that. Any kind of loading, like where you think that it's just going to cut right to the scene, it's not. If there's like a 15 to 30 second delay.
Oh, wow.
But graphics, I mean, phenomenal graphics, great story, so many side quests. There's so many customizations with armors, weapons. There's engravings that you can put on your armors. You can upgrade your ships. You can upgrade your horses. There's so much to do with it.
And they made it more of like kind of model it off of some RPG characteristics, right?
Yeah. I mean, RPG. It's not your Final Fantasy or anything like that, but they do have like. Where you can go into war, you can go on fight for one of the other side, Athenians or Spartans. You can align with other characters in the game where you can have them do distractions or things along those lines with the RPG type formatting.
Okay. How is the open world?
The open world is phenomenal. You can leave anywhere in the middle of a story and go to another continent and do a side quest or go pick up something that you think that you forgot. You can come back to the story whenever you want. There's millions of side quests to do, so you have to have that open world to do it.
So how is I guess when you travel the world, some worlds though you go to, you pretty much just get your ass kicked, right? Until you get to a certain level.
Oh,
like some of them are stronger than others.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've done it many of times. Like I'll cross a border even running and not even know that I went into. It will tell me you've discovered a new territory, but I don't know how strong it is until I walk into a camp of soldiers and they just one hit me and I'm dead.
Yeah. How is the leveling up? Like, is it a grind?
It does take a lot to do it. I mean, right now I'm only 20% into the game, and I'm at level 17. But you start out from level 1, so I mean, I've been playing it for, like, I'd say 2 weeks now. And, like, here and there, I haven't been constantly playing it except for the last 2 days. I've been playing it a lot. But, I mean, you go up quick in the beginning, and then it starts slowing down. But you're pretty much within level of everybody where you're at, along with the storyline. Unless you go off base and do all the side quests and level yourself up and then go on the story, and then you'll start dominating everybody.
Okay. So how do you compare this to other Assassin's Creed games?
I mean, it's my favorite series. I love all the originals, of course, Ezio and Connor and all them. I wish they would have gone more on Connor, but I mean, this one here, it's the best graphics. It's the best. You got more open world side quests, things like that. It's a huge world too, really big. But I mean, Origins was really good, but I finished it really quick.
Okay.
This one here, I can see this one taking me quite a while to finish up 100%. But Ezio's always my favorite.
Ezio Trilogy is my favorite too. And I think that's really the last series I played. I think I played a little bit of Black Flag, but the Ezio Trilogy really sucked me in, and I could not put down the controller until I beat the game. So yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, Ezio, there's so much to it, and you follow him from when he started, before he was an assassin, all the way up to his death.
Right.
So I mean, it's the only one they did that with too. So I don't know why they haven't done that with more characters, especially Connor and that. I mean, there's so much opportunity there for them to have all these series within the series.
Right. So, were you into Assassin's Creed games or?
Not really. I played the first one for a little bit. Probably got, I don't know, 95% of the way through. I think I may have beaten it, but I never collected all the things. And I thought it was good. It wasn't the greatest game of all time, but it was different for its time. You know what I mean? Like the climbing aspect and the towers and all that. It was just a different game for its time. I think they really improved in the second one, but beyond that, I didn't really play it. I played Black Flag just a bit because it was free on Games with Gold. But
yeah, it was.
I never really dove into it. It's still sitting in my queue, so maybe I could play it sometime, but it's not high on my priority list since I got a PS4 now and I got the Switch, so a lot of exclusives coming out.
The Xbox, so yeah, you're wrong.
Yeah, I just got through Spider-Man, and I beat that, and then I beat the DLC the first day it came out, so that's what I was really playing, and my boss let me borrow his copy of Horizon Zero Dawn, so I've been playing that off and on. And I don't know, other than that, I feel like games have kind of been stagnant for me a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you've been feeling that or not, but it's
a little bit. I mean, we're kind of going into that time of year where all the games are starting to come out. So October is always a big month. December is going to be big for Switch. November and December.
Smash Bros comes out in 45 days.
That new Pokemon game, which that game, I'm more looking forward to the actual RPG versus this Let's Go.
Yeah, same.
It doesn't look challenging. I think you catch all the Pokemon automatically.
Yeah.
As soon as you throw a Pokeball at it.
I prefer battling.
But, I mean, we're in that time of year where things are gonna start taking off. But just kind of speaking on that, Red Dead came out today.
Yeah, that's a big thing in the news right now. I guess it's getting really high scores.
Yeah,
across the board, I haven't seen a score lower than a 90%.
So one of our friends that we play with, Craft online, he got it today and he started downloading. It's 100 gigabytes though.
Yeah, it's 2 discs, right?
I don't know.
I heard it was 2 discs, and yeah, it was an 86 gig.
You don't have the space. You almost have to buy a hard drive just for the game.
Yeah, or you got to delete a bunch of stuff because I know a lot of the first gen consoles were only 500 gigs. So that's a lot of space. 1/5 of your entire total space.
It is.
If you don't have an external hard drive.
Now, Patrick, have you played any of the? Have you played the original Red Dead Redemption?
I haven't. I'm not into first-person shooters or first-person type games.
This isn't. This is a third person. It's kind of.
It's like Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, it's made by Rockstar, same people that make Grand Theft Auto, but this is kind of like the Wild Western version of GTA, really.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I would definitely try it out. I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, so the first one was great, and the second one is getting really good reviews already, and is a big game that people are really waiting for, excited about. It just the amount of detail they put into it like small things. Like if you want to brew a pot of coffee, you actually have to go through the process of like brewing a pot of coffee. Like it's just like
Wow.
minor stuff, but that's how much detail they put into it. Like if you put a weapon on your horse, you actually have to like go back and grab it off the horse to use it. It's not just gonna magically appear from underneath
So
your
it's more
jacket.
realistic along those lines.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just kind of small stuff like that
Mm.
that they really put detail into. If the horse falls in like mud or whatever, you actually see an outline of the horse. Like just the amount of detail they put into that. If I once I get around to getting it, I think I'll actually really appreciate just the amount of detail they put into it.
Yeah, there's something about like the details. I love all this new detailed games, like where it's more realistic looking and it's not so cartoony anymore.
So I know you haven't played Zelda Breath of the Wild, but that's another game. Just the amount of detail they put into it is amazing, and it's just something that I really appreciated. I mean, just kind of give you an example of what I'm talking about. So they have these kind of like shrines all over the map, and that's how you get these orbs that you eventually exchange for stamina or heart containers. But in older games, you used to always think like, wow, if I could just like shoot an arrow at this ball, it'll probably fall off. And like you do it, and nothing, the arrow would just bounce off. But in like Breath of the Wild, you could actually just literally shoot it. Like that's what you're supposed to do, is just shoot an arrow at this ball, and like it'll fall off the ledge or whatever you need it to do. Like just small stuff like that that made that game a lot more, I think, appreciated and valued by the gamers.
Yeah, but I'm happy about that. That's one thing I wanted to get into is the Switch, just because of Zelda.
Oh,
Zelda has been in my ever since Nintendo, the first Zelda. It's just one of my things. I love Zelda.
so another thing about the Switch is they just released their online gaming. It's $20 for a year, which isn't bad at all. And what you get with it is obviously all the online gaming features, but you also get the NES online, the Nintendo Entertainment System online. And they just added 4 more games. I think 5 more games. I think there's 25 games total now. But one of the games they give you to play as part of being a subscriber is the original Zelda on the Nintendo.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, and classic Tecmo Bowl's on there too.
Okay, now I'm done. I gotta go buy it now.
Yeah.
Pat, you brought up something interesting that I kind of want to go back to when you mentioned graphics. You really like the detailed graphics nowadays, the more realistic look.
Yes.
I gotta say, I appreciate the amount of detail that they put in the games, but there's something to be said about the value of games that are more cartoony, I think. And just to kind of counterpoint that, not to say that your point of view is wrong,
Wrong.
just something that's different. When I go back and play older games that are more quote unquote realistic, they don't age as well. I don't feel like. Like if you go back to Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation 1, if you go back and look at it now, it looks way different than you remember it, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Just like a GoldenEye for the N64.
Oh,
that
God,
does
it's
not
so
carry
bad.
over well.
No.
It hurts your eyes. It hurts. Me and my buddies had a good day, or this good idea one day. We're like, we're gonna have a nostalgia day, right?
Mhm.
Let's fire up the freaking N64. Let's do it. Let's all our old games that we used to play against each other. Let's do it. And like GoldenEye is the first one. And it's just like our eyes are hurting, like, we can't, like, where's the door? Like, because there's that one level, there's like
Yeah.
the trap, or not the hidden doors, and like you just get lost, and the control
And
schemes.
The control's so
Oh
bad.
yeah, and it's like I don't remember it being like this at all. But then like Mario Kart still carries over well, but
Yeah, it's
it
not
kind of
too
goes
bad.
back to your point of like the cartoony graphics versus realistic.
Well, I think a great example of that is Zelda Wind Waker. That game still looks gorgeous, even on the original GameCube, because of the cell shading and the cartoony
Yeah.
look it has.
And that's one game I hope they eventually make for the Switch, bring it back.
Well, I know they remade it and re-released it for the Wii. Is that right? Or was it the Wii U? They came out with an HD remake. I do remember
I
that.
believe it's Wii U,
Yeah.
but don't quote me on that.
And another example I can think of is like Beautiful Joe or Okami.
So I didn't think about that, about how the cartoony-ish graphics carry over better into the future.
just
still
because
look well.
Yeah, it's not down to the number of polygons that there are. It's
Right.
an art style, and I think when I don't know 10 years down the road when we're looking back at the big battle royale games, we're gonna look at PUBG versus Fortnite. And Fortnite's gonna age way better just because of its art style.
PUBG already sucks as far as the graphics. I mean,
right, fair enough.
They kind of, well, maybe Black Ops 4's battle royale versus.
Okay, that's probably a closer comparison at this point. Or even if we go back a little bit further to DayZ, the mod for Arma 2, I believe it was. If you look at DayZ, it doesn't age as well compared to some of the newer games like Fortnite, just because, and not because of the. I think it's just because of the style. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of my counterpoint. I mean, obviously there are games that are older that look really great, you know, despite being older. But I think in order to age really well for a game, they have to kind of be that type of art style.
Yeah. So
no, I highly agree with you there. I mean, for nostalgic reasons, yes. Realistic, it doesn't work for nostalgia whatsoever. I mean, because you go back, you can look at the first Mario. I mean, it's 2D.
Right.
You got this little flat guy jumping around and everything like that. It's still playable to this day.
It is.
But if you go up to like more of a Mario World or anything like that, where it's more 3D and everything like that,
Mario 64.
You go 10 years into the future for that one, it's not going to hold up as well as like your old school 2D Mario.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad you brought that up because Mario World is actually my favorite side-scrolling Mario game. That and then Mario 3 and then the original one.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, when you compare Super Mario 64 to Super Mario World, I think the graphics for World look way better, just from an artistic standpoint.
Also, side note, you get Super Mario 3 with the NES Online.
Man, you're really trying to sell this to him, man.
Just saying.
You're really selling Nintendo.
I am a Nintendo fanboy.
He really is, and I think we've brought that up a number of times that Dan is fanboying on Nintendo super hard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he grew up with Pokemon. That was his all-time. That was his game back in the day.
Pokemon, yeah. I mean, I had all. Well, I kind of grew up with Sega and Nintendo, and then got the N64. You remember that?
Yep.
And I used to play that all the time, and then I always had like the Game Boys.
You always had a Game Boy.
Yeah, I was always a big, just always been a big Nintendo fan. They always came out with great games, and I'm finally glad that the Switch they came out with the console is doing super well.
Yeah, I mean, in retrospect, the Wii U did not sell well at all. The Wii was really big, but the Wii U...
It was because it was something new with the...
It was marketed so poorly. People thought it was an add-on to the Wii because it was called the Wii U.
Yeah.
So the Switch is definitely a major step up in Nintendo's game as far as portability, as far as graphics. I think it's got beautiful-looking games.
It does. For what it is, I mean, yeah, it does. They did a really awesome job with it.
Some things I wish they'd add to the Switch now that the console's been out for a while. I'd like to see it have an online browser capability.
That'd be nice.
And I'd like to see it have Netflix and other streaming services.
Yeah, all they have on there right now is Hulu.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I'd like to see that.
Get there, but Nintendo's going to be Nintendo too.
I mean, it just makes so much sense because it's so portable. It's so convenient, you know? It's like the crossover between a tablet and a phone. Like, it's that perfect size. So if you ever just want to get up and like do something, you can just sit it to the side.
It's like the phablet of consoles.
The phablet. Oh man.
Yeah. So, kind of talking about Nintendo, Sir Fry bought the new Mario Party.
I did. I'm looking forward to playing this.
We're playing it later, but I haven't played it yet. I know Patrick hasn't.
No.
Tell us a little bit about it. What do you think?
My first impressions of it, it takes me back to the first Mario Party game that I played.
N64?
Yeah, it fulfills that nostalgic feel, you know, like the mini games, the way it plays very similar. it's not as hardcore as the first one with like the extreme rotating of the joystick where you would burn your hand.
So did you know that they actually came out with like a special glove to
I
wear
did.
just for that?
Yeah, I remember. I did not have that glove, and I ended
You
up
had
getting
the glove. Shut up.
no. I got a gnarly blister from like
Oh yeah.
trying to spin the Shy Guy and break the record.
So Patrick, did you ever play any of the original Mario parties for the N64?
I did, yeah. I played most of them,
Oh.
actually. The last one I played was, I believe it was 8.
Yeah, actually, didn't we play or buy one time when I visited? Because the Wii had a virtual console, and I think we bought one of the N64 ones, if I remember correctly.
We did, yeah. I still actually have it on my Wii.
Yeah. Okay. That's right. I was gonna say I kind of remember playing it with you, but I just couldn't pinpoint it. But yeah, that's right. So yeah, that you said nothing as extreme as the.
It's not as extreme. There are definitely some challenging mini games on there. I mean, there's like 80 mini games. I've played, I don't know, maybe like 2/3 of them.
Yeah.
Because I've played a handful of games with my brother. Um, you know, I wish there was more customization to it.
Okay.
Like, I think the max moves you can have in a board is 20. And that does take an hour and a half to 2 hours to play. But I remember the old ones, you can play like 50 turns and just play it for like 3 or 4 hours. And
Yeah.
I like that because, if you're having a party or something, and you have 4, 5, 6 people playing or however many,
Mm-hmm.
you just rotate your turns as you're playing. It's not super high stress until you get to the mini game part. So people can just take their turn and then, mosey on, party, whatever they're doing. And then when the mini game comes up, they can all play together. Like I said, the mini games are pretty good. You have to use the Joy-Con, which I'm okay with because it levels the playing field. Nobody has an advantage, I guess you could say.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And there's a lot of motion controls involved with it, which I'm mixed on because I'm not a huge fan of motion controls, but it makes sense for this game.
Is there? Yeah, you said there's a lot of mini games with the motion controls. Or...
Yeah, there definitely are.
Okay.
Just to name a few, there's one where you're riding a tricycle. You have to like rotate your hands so you're
I've
pedaling.
seen people playing that. Yeah.
There's the you have to cook a piece of meat
Yeah.
and you flip it.
What is that called? Meat cook or something?
It's something like that, and you have to flip it with the controller like you're holding a pan. And that was actually a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that one.
It's just such a random minigame. We're all out of ideas. I got it.
It's really clever though. It's different and something I would like to see down the road if they do like DLC or whatever. I'd like to see them bring back retro mini games.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I'd like to see like all the best games from all the Mario Party games put into this one, like Bumper Balls from the first one, Castaway. I can't really remember.
Run of the Bulb.
Yeah, Run of the Bulb was a good one, but I don't think they're going to do any stick rotation games anymore.
No.
They're scared that you're going to break your Joy-Con. And those things are like $70 a pair. So,
yeah.
But maybe they would switch it. Maybe they would make it so you had to rotate your hands instead of the stick.
Yeah. That's what I heard about this Mario Party though. Is it kind of brings you back to that nostalgic feel of playing like the original Mario parties.
Does. Something I don't like either is there's only 4 boards in the game, and I played 3 of them already.
Yeah.
So it's really quick.
And I heard the boards are just kind of generic, like they're not.
They are a little
special.
bit. Yeah, I mean there's like event cubes and blocks like that you can get, but I don't know. I just felt like the boards were bigger and more involved in the older games, and it just doesn't make sense to me that they're smaller in these games.
Right.
And something cool that they added to the game is each character has a customized dice, or customized die, I guess you could say. And they all have like different abilities. Like I think Mario's is there's more 3s on his die than there are like any other number, so he can average move like 3 consistently.
Right.
Whereas Bowser's special block, he's got like 8, 9, 10. But then the other 3 things are like he loses coins.
Oh yeah.
So that's the trade-off. So it adds a new element to the game. I like that. I also don't like the bonus stars at the end. I really enjoyed them when they were on the original console, like on the 64 and the GameCube. But you just don't get as many of them at the end of the game.
Okay.
So I don't know. They just don't seem as fun. There's only like 2 or 3 at the end of the game. I'm like, it's not as fun as the other ones where you get like 6 or 7 stars at the end, and it could like really change the tide of the game.
Right. Okay.
So those are kind of my first impressions on it. It does take some pages out of the first game's book. You know, like the last 3 turns, all the blocks are changed.
That's
so
right. They do.
you get 6 coins instead of 3, or you lose 6 instead of 3.
Okay.
There's like good fortune and bad fortune posts that you can land on. They affect the game or affect you particularly.
So scale of 1 to 10, what do you give it?
As of right now, like I said, I've only played like 2 or 3 rounds of it. I'm gonna give it a 7.5. It's enjoyable, definitely. It's not a perfect game, but I'd say it's worth playing. Definitely worth picking up.
Okay. So it's good, not bad.
Yeah, it's not something
great.
it's not something you can really play by yourself.
No,
and have
I mean
fun.
it's literally a party game.
Yeah, like you gotta have at least another person to play with to make it.
And even then, sometimes that gets kind of like you. It's really about having like a group of people that you kind of.
Yeah, and
That's how I always felt about those games. Like it's fun having like 3 people versus just 2.
yeah, I think the fun factor goes up exponentially the more people you have
Oh,
playing.
yeah.
So I would say by yourself probably like 7.5, but
Yeah.
with a group an 8,
Right.
definitely.
Cool.
That just adds to the experience.
Okay.
So we're definitely have to play that, and you can give me your impressions on it.
Oh, yeah.
Later.
Oh yeah. So, are there any games, Patrick, that are coming out or you've heard rumors about that you're excited about?
On offhand, I mean, not really that I've really seen so far. This is the one. I mean, Assassin's Creed is the one I was waiting for, so that they had all my attention. So I haven't really been paying attention to many others.
Okay. Yeah, I think me and Surf are both looking forward to Smash Bros.
Yeah, definitely. That's like one of my go-to games,
Yes.
especially for like competition or parties. It's just one of the fun ones because you can make it serious where there's like no items, no nothing. It's just you versus somebody else,
Mhm.
or you can make it as crazy as you want it to be. Like
Yes.
high amount of items, like an item drops every 5 seconds, and just make it a free-for-all shit show. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Plus, the character roster is massive. There's like over 70 characters. And I don't know if you saw this in the news or like any gaming news, but there was like a big leak apparently with new characters added to the roster. And I can't confirm that it's
I
right or
did
not,
hear that.
but from what the leak was, I guess like potentially Banjo Kazooie's gonna be in it.
I've been hearing that for a little bit.
Yeah,
That'll be interesting.
yeah, and there's a couple other characters, but that was the one that stood out to me. I'm like, be interesting to see how that character played out. If it would play like a like an Ice Climbers character or what. So
Yeah. Yeah. I heard about the rumors about the characters. But I guess we'll find out here.
Not too
Actually,
long.
I felt like we've been waiting for this game to come out forever, and it's a little over a month away.
I think we talked about it in our first podcast months ago.
Yeah. I mean, it's slowly getting there.
Yeah.
So, but until then, and like you kind of said, we've been kind of feeling like games have been kind of stagnant for us. We actually fired up Fortnite last night, first time in forever.
Played that for a
GTA
minute.
5
Yeah. I played some
online.
GTA.
So I don't know, Patrick, if you have played GTA 5, but the online is actually really good.
I play every Wednesday night.
Do you really?
Yeah.
So we'll have to make that a part of our routine then.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll decrease the stagnation that we're dealing with.
Yeah. The only thing I hate about GTA 5 online is
Reefers? Long load times?
No.
Cheaters? Hackers? I'm going to say I can list a bunch of shit.
Okay, well. True. But the main thing I hate is the grind to make money in that. I mean, maybe I just do it wrong because I don't really do heists or anything, but I've never actually had enough people to do it.
The
I don't want to do
grinding
with
is
random people.
real in that game, dude. They really want you to spend money on shark cards, and it bothers me.
Yeah, I mean each car
Yeah,
is
they do.
over $1 million.
Yeah, it
It took
rubs
me-
me the wrong way.
The only reason I was able to buy a CEO building was because I got like $1 million for logging in one day.
There you go.
I didn't actually earn it.
You're like, hey,
And then I
free
buy
money.
it, and then it's like, oh, each room for it too to add on is $1 million. I'm like, damn, I still can't plan heists.
Right. Dude, it's so expensive, man. Like,
No, I have a lot of businesses. I have cars. I have helicopters. I have quite a bit. I've only been playing it for, I'd say, 3 months,
Really?
4 months. Yeah.
So how do you make money online?
I hung out with one of my friends. We played for a while. He knew a group of people, and every time I was on, we'd be running businesses for them and running, their drugs, their money, their fraud shit, and I would just be making bank just helping.
Yeah, some of those you can make decent money. It's just, I mean, I guess there's some missions when I register as a CEO I could do, and they give you, decent chunk of change. But yeah, I didn't know you were playing that. Why every Wednesday? Is that when all your friends?
Because that's when when I get home from with my kids, and then I come home. I'm home alone, and I jump on, and that's when my one buddy was there playing, and we just decided Wednesday nights, 9 o'clock till midnight, 1 o'clock, we play.
Right on.
Solid.
Cool. I didn't know that.
So mostly what Tank and I play, we end up playing 90% of the time Rocket League.
Oh yeah.
I play like 5 games now, and I just get bored. I'm just like, it's the same thing over and over again.
I love it. I think that's why I like it.
I love it too. I do. It's just I need something to shake it up because like I said, I get in that groove where I'm like, man, I don't have the drive to play this. I'm the same way with Overwatch right now. Like that's the game I've been playing for the last year and a half, 2 years, and I'm just over it at this point.
I never got into that game.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. It's a real team-based, kind of like Team Fortress 2 type of style where you have different classes and they have different roles to play. But
right.
I don't know. It's just I'm looking for something different. I haven't had like a game that really got me hooked since I don't know, probably Call of Duty way back in the day. I remember Modern Warfare 2. I would play that game 4 hours.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. And
that's when I actually enjoyed playing Call of Duty online.
And Modern Warfare 3 was like the last great hurrah for me. Yeah, I didn't like any of the Black Ops games really. I couldn't get into them with the specialized classes and the jetpacks and
where it's at.
My squad, man, we would all roll up riot shields and throwing knives. Yeah. We did this thing called the Turtle Squad, where we'd all crawl across the map with our throwing knives and our riot shields on our backs.
That's awesome.
Oh, we would smack people down. They would just be so mad. Use a fucking riot shield. We'd have like one guy with C4, and we'd all block him, and like he'd just throw the C4 over us.
Great.
Oh, it was great. It's like that scene out of 300 where they're all like with the shields up, and he would just throw it out.
I think that series is what really started causing people to rage quit.
Oh man. I remember the worst we ever beat a team. It was like the score would go up to 7,500, right? We beat a team 75-3. They got 3 kills the whole game.
That's terrible.
We destroyed them. It was so funny.
That is terrible.
It was great though, man. Like that is like my fondest memories of gaming online with, like in college with my crew.
Yeah. With a group of friends.
We'd all squad up, get together, just play for hours. Oh man, it was great.
Right on.
So now I got a question for you guys. What do you guys think about this, or what games are you anticipating with PlayStation jumping onto this cross-console sharing?
Oh yeah, the cross-platform.
So, could you elaborate on that? Like, what do you mean?
Well, PlayStation is finally jumping on with, what is it, Fortnite or whatever it is, where you can play cross-console.
Yeah.
Where I'm on PlayStation, they're on Xbox, but we can still play.
Mm-hmm.
So now, what games would you be interested in having that happen with? I know a lot of people are like, I want Minecraft or...
Minecraft would be cool.
If Sony actually jumps on board with more games other than just Fortnite, Minecraft would be cool.
Yeah. They're already on board with... are they on board with Rocket League? I know PC
Fortnite,
is.
PC, Switch, and Xbox are all on board with Rocket League.
Yeah, so I'd like to see a bigger pool with Rocket League. That'd be cool. Because I have friends
Or-
that have PlayStation. I don't have PlayStation Network online or anything, so I could play. I could play with them. That'd be cool.
That would be cool. Yeah, Rocket League would be a good one. GTA.
So like,
Of course, GTA, yeah.
Yeah, GTA would be good. I'm trying to think of like third-party games that aren't exclusive to consoles. That's a tough one. That's a good question.
Well, I would say the Call of Duties if I played them.
Yeah.
Uh, really, what we play, Rocket League would be a big one. Minecraft would be for me.
Yeah.
Fortnite's kind of whatever. I don't. We honestly fired it up for the first time since I think like last October.
And we got
yesterday.
destroyed.
Then we got wrecked.
Oh, it was bad. I don't understand anything that's going on in that game, and I can't build fortresses for shit. So
Yeah, I couldn't.
I
remember
really
any of the
suck at that
buttons.
game. I'll be honest. I need to
What?
get good.
How about you, Patrick? Any games you're hoping for?
I was saying like GTA, things along those types of lines where it's more of a big world where you have a lot of people into it.
Right.
GTA is definitely one of them. Minecraft, even though Minecraft I feel has lost its steam over the past year,
Lost its what?
it's lost its steam.
I don't know. I think it's still got a big following. Because they're consistently updating it. They're doing a good job. But yeah, I guess I could kind of see what you mean.
They need a new one. They're due for a new one.
Yeah.
Just like GTA, GTA 5. It's been out. It's been out for a while. Everybody's into it. Everybody's still loving it because they keep updating and updating. But now that Red Dead 2's out, they're gonna work on the new Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. Well.
So they have to update games over so many years, and Minecraft
Actually,
it's been out for quite a while.
Yeah, but they've been consistently updating it and doing a good job with it. They just came out with the Bedrock Edition, which is a cross-platform, and you could actually run mods if I remember correctly now. So you could actually do more with it.
Okay.
The one thing I think, kind of saying when you say a new one, it would be interesting if they came out with one with more like realistic graphics, like you see people on the PCs do,
Yeah.
instead of going away from that. The blocky. I mean, that's kind of what Minecraft is known, but just not saying to get have both games, but just for people that might want that more modern look.
Maybe a happy medium could be they could enable modifications
Yeah.
to the game. Like they can allow PC players to build mods and they can transfer those mods over to consoles.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be
'Cause that's what-
that'd be easy solution.
I think that's what Elder Scrolls does right now. Skyrim. They can do mods like make the water look more, I don't know, realistic, I guess.
And actually, Farming Simulator, whatever the most recent, I don't think the newest one's come out. So 17, I think, is the newest one until I think next month 19 comes out. But that one would let you do mods. People on the PC or whatever could go in and they make like all the mods. Like some guys made like excavators and stuff, like construction equipment, and you could actually load the mods into the console.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of like what you're saying there, they could do that with Minecraft for sure. I mean, it's already being done.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I think it's finally. I'm happy that cross platforms finally happening. I think it's been something people have been talking about for a very long time.
Oh yeah, long time.
But it kind of you mentioned Grand Theft Auto 6, and actually I just saw today that Rockstar is actually happy they didn't make GTA 6 just because of the state of the country, pretty much. And thinking that the country wouldn't take well to it.
I don't know. I mean, gaming's always been violent. Gaming's always had those things to it. And that's where people who, like you and me, like, we're not going out, we're not doing all that stuff. This is where we can go out and do this kind of stuff. I'd rather have my son be doing it at home than out on the street doing it. This gets his frustrations out.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, I think people know what to expect when a new GTA comes out. It's not anything
There's always
new.
some controversy along with it.
It always will. It always will, and that's why it's such a big hit. It's made for controversy.
You guys remember the hot coffee mod controversy from
No.
Grand Theft Auto San Andreas?
What is that?
No.
Essentially, there was this mod called Hot Coffee, and I don't know how you did it or whatever. I never really played that one that much until, I was a little bit older, and by that time they had like locked up the mod or whatever. I don't know how it works. Anyway, so the controversy was is that the main character would actually simulate sex with like his girlfriend or something if you enabled the hot coffee mod. And it was like a mini game.
What?
Yeah, it was like a big deal back in the day. It was.
Yeah, people probably lost their shit.
Oh, they did. They lost their minds. They're like, "What do you mean this is in the game?" I'm like, "You can blow people's heads off, but you're worried about this." Like,
You're worried about that, but you're not worried about running 500 people or setting them on fire and pissing on them.
yeah, I think that gaming has always had some type of controversy, whether it was quote unquote a waste of time or
Mhm.
whether they were too violent or they induce violence, which has scientifically been disproven that it increases violence. There is no causation there. So
Right.
I think it's funny that every time a Grand Theft Auto game comes out or a Rockstar game for that matter comes out, there's always some type of controversy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think Red Dead had any.
The big controversy with Red Dead right now is the not so much in the game, but outside of the game with the developers having to do so much crunch time. You know, having to work 60, 70, 80 90 hours a
yeah.
week. And not
What
being
was it
able,
like? I think like 2 weeks ago, Rockstar finally said, "Okay, overtime's not mandatory anymore."
Right.
How long have you had it mandatory?
Well, I think the way it goes is it's that power differential. You know, like upper management says this isn't mandatory, but there's like reading between the lines. Like if you don't do this, you're slacking and you're hurting the rest of your team. So you better come in and do this overtime. You know, it just I can't condone that type of behavior to your employees. You know, that's terrible. So I'm not gonna buy Red Dead. I'm gonna wait until it's out for a while and I can get a pre-owned copy so the money doesn't go straight to Rockstar.
Right.
But that's just my standpoint on that. You know, treat your employees right. I really think that I think the gaming community, the gaming industry needs a union at this point because they're
This is what
abused.
I kind of heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're pretty much grinding until it comes out.
Right.
Until it's about to come out.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's some of the things I read on there. You know, this guy, he was working his 5 days a week where he'd work overtime during the week so he'd have time to spend with his wife and kids on the weekends. And his superior was like, "Well, you need to come and work on weekends." He's like, "But I'm getting all my stuff done during the week."
Right.
So the superior comes in, drops all this shit off on his desk, like, "Now you got to work weekends." I'm like, "That's not cool. I can't condone that.
That's terrible.
I can't give that company my money." And I'm already burned on them because they didn't release any single player DLC for Grand Theft Auto when they were planning on doing so. That bothers me.
Well, I think they saw how
they saw how
online
profitable.
took off.
Yeah, I mean, they saw that the shark cards made them more money, and that they didn't need to do single player DLC. So it's like, screw it, we'll just focus on this. And
yeah, they didn't. They were going to continue the story, but they saw how well GTA took off, which I'm kind of glad that they put more effort into it because it turned out. I like I like parts of GTA Online.
Right.
I don't like getting killed and then spawning and the guy's already there killing me again.
What I don't like about GTA Online is it's just such a grind to unlock anything. You know, it's such a pain in the ass. And I remember when GTA Online released the first 2 weeks or so, it was unplayable. Like you couldn't even log in. It was terrible. Now I'm like, this is ridiculous, man. Like not only that, but they gave themselves a month after the actual game release before the online even was going to be released. So we had that expectation. You've got an extra month to develop this. It should work, right?
Right.
And it didn't. It did not work.
No,
it was terrible.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
I remember I tried playing it online and I was like, what the hell is this?
Literally just locked into a tutorial. And it was really bad. So I have some bad blood with Rockstar as far as that goes. I just it was a bad taste in my mouth.
Yes. It is.
Yeah. That's just my personal opinion, though.
But so with Red Dead, they're gonna have it online, and it sounds like it's gonna be pretty much GTA Online, but Red Dead Redemption. So Wild Wild West GTA Online. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, my thoughts. I mean, I love the GTA Online. It's fun. Like you said, the frustrating part is you getting killed, and then when you respawn, you're getting killed immediately again. But I mean, Wild West. I mean, yeah, it sounds like a lot better. I mean, You're not going to have people with missile launchers or, things along those lines, or high-speed cars. You're going to have more horses, six-shooters, dynamite, things along those lines. So it gives it a different spin on it. A little bit more old-school feeling, I would say.
Right.
All right, where are we at here? Wow, we've been talking for almost an hour. So, is there anything else that we want to discuss today? Because I really don't have anything else to touch on today at this point. Just kind of waiting on some more games to come out.
Yeah, so if any of our listeners have any suggestions of games that they're playing that you guys haven't heard us talk about that we may be interested in, by all means, let us know.
Yep.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
And like the video if you enjoyed the content. If you didn't, leave it in the comments and give us some suggestions on what you would like to hear about.
Yeah. And that, we'll have to get my nephew on here. And
Right, and of course, thanks, Pat, for joining us. It was really great having you.
Oh, thanks for having me. It was fun.
Yep. We'll try to get more consistent with these podcasts. We've been kind of slacking for a while, but we're getting back into the swing of things.
Yeah.
When life comes at you, what you're going to do.
Yep.
Paul goes fuzzy. But all right, guys. Thanks for listening. And until next time, I'm Tank.
I'm Stir Fry.